Elizabeth Blackwell was a pioneer in the world of women's rights. As the first woman doctor in the United States, she led the way for many others. She was, and still is, an inspiration to the people of America and around the world. Elizabeth Blackwell was born on February 3, 1821, in Bristol, England, as one of the 9 Blackwell children. The Blackwell family immigrated to New York City in 1832 when Elizabeth was only 11. From a young age, Elizabeth was involved in protests and movements with the rest of her family. She was especially involved in the abolitionist movement, the movement that worked to abolish slavery. 6 years later, in 1838, the Blackwells relocated to Cincinnati, Ohio. Shortly after the move, Elizabeth's father, Samuel Blackwell, died. Along with school and work, the family had to support themselves with the absence of their father. This struggle, however, did not help them from aiding runaway slaves. In 1844, the 23-year-old Elizabeth Blackwell decided that she wanted to become a doctor. At that time, however, no medical school would admit her because she was a woman. Instead of giving up her dream, she grew even more determined to become a doctor and started studying privately with doctors in Philadelphia and the southern part of the country. Finally, in 1847, the Geneva Medical School of Western New York accepted her. Although transitioning was hard at medical school, as the only female being frowned upon by everyone, Elizabeth persevered and graduated at the top of her class. Although she did extremely well, people still opposed the practice of women, including Charles Lee, Dean of Geneva Medical College. In his speech to the graduating class of 1849, he said, "Inconveniences attending the admission of females to all the lectures in a medical school are so great that he will feel compelled on all future occasions to oppose such a practice." Elizabeth went to Paris, where the best medical knowledge could be found at the time, to undertake advanced medical studies. However, Paris doctors wouldn't let her study with them and wouldn't help her. Instead, Elizabeth was forced to work in a large maternity hospital as a student. Sadly, from that hospital, she got an infection that caused her to lose sight in one eye. After that experience, she traveled to London, where she was allowed to continue her studies. Back in New York in 1850, she was not allowed to practice in any hospital. From there, she fought for her own and other women's rights to learn and practice in the medical field. Because she was not permitted to practice in any hospital, she started the New York Infirmary for Women and Children. When opening the hospital, she was aided by her sister, Emily Blackwell, and other women doctors and several Quakers. Elizabeth's leadership in meeting the medical problems presented by the Civil War won her recognition and rights. Although she faced many difficulties, she was a pioneer in her field and is quoted saying, "It is not easy to be a pioneer, but oh, it is fascinating. I would not trade one moment, even the worst moment, for all the riches in the world." Elizabeth Blackwell was an amazing doctor and paved the way for many, many other women throughout history and today. In her words, "If society will not admit of women's free development, then society must be remodeled."